Welcome back. Well, we're going to have a very interesting panel now. And as you can see, it's Framatome and key enablers for the competitiveness of nuclear energy. And I will actually start with the chair, because this is chaired by Grégoire Ponchon, Chief Executive Officer at Framatome. Welcome. Please join us on stage. And this panel will be moderated by Isabelle Kumar. Welcome up on stage. Give them a warm hand.
A very, very warm welcome to everybody here. Now, we're going to be having a conversation now that is going to be exploring some of the key enablers to ensure the competitiveness of the nuclear industry and energy. So as you all know, global electricity consumption is rising rapidly around the world, and in fact is projected to be the dominant form of energy used in 2050. So nuclear power that's driven both by its existing fleets and new builds will be essential in supporting a low-carbon energy mix. So to fulfill its real and full potential, the nuclear industry must strengthen its competitiveness and strengthen key competitive enablers that will allow it to contribute effectively to advancing the world towards its, albeit now rather troubled, low-carbon energy ambitions. So we've got a fantastic panel lined up for you. As you've heard, I am delighted to be joined by the president of our panel, and that is Grégoire Ponchon, who is the CEO of Framatome. We're also going to be joined right now by Vattenfall, and Vattenfall is represented by Daniel Nordgren, who is the Vice President of Fleet Development and also its Chief Nuclear Officer. Also joining us, we're delighted to welcome Philippe Bordarier, who is the incoming CEO of TVO, who will be taking up the post on December the 1st. And we'll also be joined by the CEO of the Nuclear Energy Institute, and that is Maria Korsnick. And last but not least, as you know, well, where are they? Come and join us. Welcome, everybody. Do take your seats. I think you're the far end one, Danielle. Thank you very much there to Daniel for joining us. So why don't we ask now, it's a bit of a confusing one here, if everybody could come and join us from our panel. If we could have Philippe Bordarier come and join us on the panel. We're also joined by Gijs van der Velden from MX3D. Welcome. And also by Maria Korsnick, who is the CEO of the Nuclear Energy Institute. Welcome to you. Thank you very much. Great to have you with us. So Grégoire, let's begin with you, because could you begin by telling us all here about Framatome, its strategic priorities and the vision for these key enablers that will drive the nuclear energy's future competitiveness?
Okay, and thank you for that panel. I'm sure that the topic will be very interesting. We all of us, of course, have concern about competitiveness. Framatome is a well-known company. We are 70 years old, and to make it simple, we've built the French fleet. But now we position in about 30 countries in the world. We used to be 13,000 of us in 2016. We are 21,000 of us in the world now. And we hire about 2,500 newcomers every year.
Well, that's very impressive indeed.
And of course, our activity is on new builds. We manage, of course, the EPR technology, the EPR 1200, SMR as well, new word, could be a technology, an emerging technology for the future. But we also partner with most of players in the world. New build are there everywhere, and we can partner also with any of the players on SMRs, advanced reactors, on component manufacturing, on INC, cybersecurity, and so on. Okay, you were asking me about enablers. I will make a distinction between new builds and operating fleets. On new builds, we finally benefit from a serial effect. You know, OL3 was the first of a kind. Taishan 1 and 2 were first of a kind. Flamanville 3 was the first of a kind. HPC was the first of a kind. Now, we work on Sizewell C, and Sizewell C is an exact replication of HPC, and we get a saving. You see, the key on new builds is standardization. Standardization so that you can get the benefit of a serial effect. Of course, we also need to manage regulatory stability. That is key. On Flamanville 3, the regulation was not defined when we started, and then it was a mess. Of course, we also need to make sure that we are clear on the scope of work. Framatome, to make it simple, is in charge of the nuclear steam system. But this being said, the boundaries can be clarified. And when we are clear on the fact that we are EPCC on dedicated scope, then we can benefit from synergies. As far as the operation fleet is concerned, we can get better competitiveness by reducing the outage duration. You know, in Framatome, we refer to three key top priorities: health and safety, quality, and lead time. These go together, but reducing lead time is key because time is costly. Time is costly on new builds. Time is costly on the existing fleet. And to save time, we must standardize as well to maintain the existing fleet. We also can work to enhance the performance thanks to innovation. I will come back on innovation.
We'll be talking about that, yeah.
Yeah, of course. But for instance, we propose 24-cycle fuel. For instance, we work on power upgrade. We can even restart units. And in fact, to me, it works when we are in when we get to build a strong partnership with customers, with the supply chain, and then we can, thanks to such partnership, enter in a long-term relationship and then get to optimize. Of course, the support to the existing fleet is key. The existing fleet is an asset, and of course, when we get to upgrade, to enhance the power, but also the lifetime duration, then we get the best benefit from the asset to optimize the initial expense.
Amazing, extremely dynamic, and I look forward to hearing more about the innovation aspects, which we will be talking about in just a moment. But a word now on the Nuclear Energy Institute, which promotes the nuclear industry in the United States and for decades has provided technical and research support to its members worldwide. Now, Maria, I'm going to turn to you because as a CEO, you've developed an in-depth and global vision of the industry, obviously. So could you share your perspective on the new challenges, but also, of course, importantly, the opportunities?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. You know, I've been in the industry for over 40 years, and there really has never been a moment like we find ourselves in right now. And I say that not only for the United States, but quite frankly, for the world. So the question was, what are the challenges and what are the opportunities? I would begin by saying, my goodness, the opportunities far outweigh the challenges that we find today in nuclear. And why nuclear? Why are people interested in it? Well, you go nuclear if you have a concern for energy security, and you go nuclear if you have a concern for climate security. So the reality is nuclear brings the carbon-free, highly reliable, round-the-clock answer for energy. And we need that right now. And one of the reasons that we need it is artificial intelligence. It's a very hungry technology, very thirsty for electricity. And so we need a lot more of the reliable electricity that all of these companies need to bring that important technology forward. And that's why you see Google and Meta and Amazon, all of these hyperscalers are now making partnerships with nuclear energy to bring it forward. In the United States, I couldn't be more clear. We have bipartisan support for nuclear. We can't agree on anything in the United States, but we can agree on nuclear energy. And so you can see with that bipartisan support, you're seeing support not only at the federal level, we have support at the state level. We've had over 350 pieces of legislation at the state level supporting nuclear energy just in the past year alone. So we have a real opportunity at the moment. Nuclear of yesterday was one size, large. Nuclear of tomorrow, large, medium, small. All kinds of opportunities. So nuclear is now being looked at as solution sets in ways that it couldn't have been looked at even just a few years ago. The innovation pipeline for nuclear is full, and that innovation is coming to the marketplace. You are seeing it internationally as well. Just in the past few months, the United States has made deals with Singapore, with Malaysia, with United Kingdom, with South Korea, and most recently with Japan. All of these opportunities are going to bring not only investment in nuclear in the United States, but investment in nuclear worldwide. It's a fantastic opportunity for nuclear. Really a brand new day. Thank you.
Thanks so much. A brand new day, and so well put. Well, it's interesting, and if we put this into perspective and look at what's happening in Vattenfall, Daniel, because Vattenfall offers the competitive and 90% decarbonized electricity mix. And nuclear energy provides a third of that, if I'm correct. So recently, the Swedish government unveiled a roadmap that envisages the construction of new nuclear capacity. And that is equivalent to, listen to this, 2 large-scale reactors by 2035, with up to 10 coming online by 2045. So very much reflecting this dynamism that Maria was talking about. So Daniel, could you tell us a little bit more about the key enablers that Vattenfall has identified to ensure nuclear energy is competitive for your customers? And why not? Tell us a little bit more about these new build projects with SMRs, particularly in this regard.
Yes, thanks, and thanks for inviting me here. Great to be here. I think, I don't know if everyone listened to news. I mean, things are going on in Brussels as well. And Vattenfall's commitment to the 90% target 2040, it's also clubbed, or whatever you call it in English, in Brussels this morning or late this evening. So we have the European Union commitment on the road to fossil free. And I agree with all the opportunities that we have. And I think all these opportunities now becomes a responsibility. So if we all sitting here, we need to take action on that. And I think looking at competitiveness, of course, nuclear as such, we're selling electricity. It's a commodity that is supplied from other sources as well. So being competitive is, of course, microphone. Up, here we go again. So obviously, this industry needs to be competitive in terms of cost compared to solar, wind, and the equivalent storage to get 24/7 delivery. So that's one part. And obviously, the customer needs to afford the product as well. And the third part about being competitive, I would say is also in terms of regulation that we need to have, here we go again, ensure that we have just tariffs on grid and so on, so no one get disqualified by that. Looking at being competitive to customers for us, first of all, I would say that the reactors we have 5 in operations now in Sweden. First thing first, we need to operate what we have, and we need to deliver on what we have. Let's try that one. Thanks. No, but operating what we have. And I think we talked about outage and those kind of things that Framatome supplies support with. I think that's pretty crucial. I think Framatome brands that you can help us with shortening the outage period, which is good. I think we also need to acknowledge that we have challenges in sticking to the plan as well. So helping out actually delivering on the plans we have in the operations. I think it's important not just for economics, but also all changes you do in outage is also a safety issue, which we need to deal with carefully. We do work on lifetime extension, and here we need to line up with all the suppliers of a kind of a decade project in prolongation. So we're aiming, we're doing feasibility study to run the plants up to 80 years in total. So that will require quite a lot of engineering and support and so on. And this prolongation, just that prolongation is equivalent to 6 years of electricity consumption in Sweden. So that's a pretty big deal. But that doesn't discourage us from also what you asked about is the new nuclear, which is, yeah, everyone is interested in that, and I can understand that. And what's happening in Sweden, it's really pushed forward. We have a positive government. We are in the discussions on financing, and I think also for getting into a new era in nuclear, new setup of plants, we also need to figure out how to handle the back end system. So and for that we need to ensure that we have enough of megawatts sharing that context. But we are planning at our site on the West Coast. We do hope that we will send in application early next year. And one part of ensuring the competitiveness towards the customer is that we are keen to actually bring in industry consumers into the consortium of that.
Thank you so much, Daniel. And I think we are going to hear this said in so many different ways throughout this panel that nuclear energy is needed now, as Maria said right at the beginning. Now, in Finland, more than 30% of electricity is generated by TVO using nuclear energy. And in addition to Olkiluoto, Philippe, you are seeking to extend the operating life of nuclear power plants units 1 and 2 by an additional 10 to 20 years. So that would take you to about 2048, 2058. And you're also considering significant power uprates, if I understand. So can you tell us more here, a bit more about TVO's strategy for providing this low carbon and very competitive energy?
Sure. And thank you for having me there, and hello there. So let's talk a bit about Finland. Olkiluoto, as you know, we are a tiny island on the west coast of Finland, only a few square kilometers. But on this island, you have the only third-generation nuclear in full commercial operation in Europe. You have 2 reactors from the legacy time facing a very extremely ambitious plant life extension. And we have the Posiva, our Posiva affiliate, which is the long-term repository for spent fuel, which is being commissioned and the first one in the world. So on this small, scary, on the west side of Finland, you have kind of a very high density of nuclear activity. And of course, about our sustainability and strategy in the long term, what we want is to continue to provide more than 30% of Finland electricity, but this comes with two very, very strong conditions. First of all is nuclear safety. And there is no nuclear industry without nuclear safety. So this has to remain our overriding priority every day, every hour, every second, and to keep focusing on that, developing that, strengthening that. We need the brain, the solutions, the ideas of anybody in this room and beyond to continue developing nuclear safety. That's the first condition to long-term nuclear industry. The second one for us, we are that company that is operating on the market. And the electricity market in Finland is highly volatile. We have a lot of renewables on the grid, and on a nice sunny and windy day during spring or fall or even summer, we have way enough electricity coming from renewables and negative prices. So we have a market condition that has changed totally in the past few years, maybe a couple of decades, and we need to be able to manage in the long run nuclear reactors in that market environment, which means keeping our operation production costs as low as possible. And that is my second key focus. Nuclear safety is the first one, and production costs are the second one. And for that, again, we need a lot. We'll talk later about suppliers, so I won't develop that too much, but of course, they are a big part of keeping our production costs low. I think there are huge opportunities among operators to improve our collaboration, improve the way we leverage operating experience. And also, I expect a lot from policymakers. Nuclear is providing a lot of services to the grid that is, at the moment, not retributed. And I'd like to be remunerated for bringing inertia, bringing load following, bringing frequency support, which are very, very strong services for a small grid like ours. So this is the long-term perspective for the company.
Thank you so much for that very clear long-term perspective. So we promised you innovation. I'm now going to turn to Gijs, because MX3D is a leading company which is deploying very innovative technology. It's called Wire Arc Additive Manufacturing, WAM for short. And with robots, you enable companies, engineers and designers to produce end-to-end, large-scale, 3D printed metal objects. So can you tell us how this technology is creating new levers for industrial competitiveness? I think there are going to be many ears wide open right now to hear that. And what are some of the key levers that you've already identified or experienced in this process?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the invitation as well. What I hear a lot from the other speakers as well is that we need scale, we need flexibility and innovation. And I think with MX3D, we can bring those three things to the table. So what we effectively do is replace casting and forging, and we reduce the lead times a lot. And of course, when you increase the amount of nuclear centrals, increasing or decreasing the lead times and scaling up would be vital, and this is something we can bring. So because we use off-the-shelf robotics and off-the-shelf welding wires, our CapEx and OpEx are relatively low, and we can scale up in the matter of months. So we can set up a full factory of 3D printing robots that can print parts up to 20 tons and 5 meters wide within the matter of a few months. And this is something completely different than when you say we're going to scale up a new forging operation, which is probably going to take 5 years and dozens of millions of euros. So what we do is a completely digital process. So everything we print is stored in a digital warehouse. So whenever you need it again, which in nuclear maybe can be only in 20, 30, 40 years, you can just take it off the shelf and reprint it with the same qualification requirements and the same end result as 40 years before. So an innovation like this can really change the way you produce for nuclear. Because one of the major impacts can be that you can be ready for the next production, even if you don't produce nuclear parts every day. So this is one of the new things that the 3D printing brings to the table. Yeah, quality is of course everything, and in collaboration with Framatome the last 4 years, we've been able to show that the quality of this technology is excellent, and although we're not yet in the nuclear code, we expect, we hope that this is going to be something quite soon arranged. So we're already working with companies like ExxonMobil, Total Energies, so in the oil and gas industry. We already see these standards coming up, and they also see the benefits of having a technology that allows you to print small series and high quality parts.
Thank you so much, Gijs. You know, it sounds very transformative indeed. So, Grégoire, we see that, like with many other industries, you know, innovation can strengthen nuclear competitiveness. We've just been hearing this from Gijs now. So, can you tell us about Framatome's overall strategy when it comes to innovation?
For sure, innovation is key. We just mentioned additive manufacturing. It helps for prototyping, but also for the products by itself. In fact, innovation has to do with artificial intelligence, simulation, numeric twins, for instance. It has to do with robotic, and for instance, welding using robots. In Framatome, we spend about 1/3 of our profit. We embed 1/3 of our profit to research and develop. R&D costs are high. These costs are growing costs. Putting aside inflation, the growth is +7% per year. It is worth to anticipate, to consider the future. The future reactors, SMRs, advanced reactors, but also R&D can focus on promising technology such as cladding material for fuel or fuel pellets that are improved for enhanced safety margin. We, of course, can get higher power and higher burn-up capacities thanks to innovation, and, of course, longer operation cycles. But innovation has also to do with process and organizational improvement. You know, we can always simplify. We can always standardize, make sure that we ensure short loops to solve quality issues. And of course, continuous improvement is a kind of innovation.
Absolutely, I love that point. So I'm going to come now to you, Philippe, because I want to pick up on something you said just a moment ago about suppliers being key. And so what I'm wondering now is how innovation fits into that in terms of supply chain innovations. Before you start, let's keep an eye on the time. Time flies, and we're running out. Over to you.
Very good. So back to my first answer, nuclear safety, production costs. So these are my two drivers, and what I expect from my suppliers is really to support these two pillars of our activity. So that means high quality. We've just mentioned that. That means high competency. We need to be able to get strong supports from knowledgeable people, experts in the long run. It's not only about this year, next year, it's for 20, 30 years if we want to operate up to 2058. That's something that we need to look in the long run. And of course, it's about these innovations that we've been talking about. Again, leveraging what we can do to go and remove waste, get better deliveries, better processes. We operate in a market which is the competitor is ourselves. So it's us becoming more efficient that will deliver sustainability for us. Thank you.
Thanks, Philippe. So then I'd like to kind of ask the same question to you, Daniel. If you could just tell us what your vision is of an ideal supply chain that contributes to competitiveness, innovation, possibly human resource management.
Yeah, well, I would say hassle-free and cheap, if that's enough. But apart from that, I mean, human resources, I think we need all the spectras. And we need also to get young generation in that. And we need both, I mean, this new innovation in new build. I think we also need to work together to have innovation in the old structures coming to the lifetime extension, old structures, new technology. I think that's, and then as far as AI, I'm not an expert. I think at our utility we do crash course on executive level on AI, and I think that's the strategic decision, because if executives can learn about AI, then anyone can learn about AI. That's the tactic.
How are you finding that?
No, well, I'm good. I'm getting my agents and around and support me, but it comes with a bit of responsibility, and I am a bit afraid that we do this without having some reflection on the pitfalls of AI as well. I saw an article from MIT that actually people using AI tend to stop using their brains. So we need to be careful there.
Thank you. There's a lot of things to consider when it comes to innovations, but I think when it comes to what you're doing, Gijs, I think there is a lot of excitement, and you're working with many different technological industries. So tell us a little bit more about WAM, additive manufacturing, and how it basically is a revolutionary technology for the industry, and how it fits into what's happening today, but also in terms of the future.
Yeah, so what I always think is nice to have a bit of context. So we're 10 years old. We're working with space, defense, and nuclear now. We scaled up metal 3D printing 100-fold since we started. So if you take on this line and you take it 10 years further again, then you can already imagine that the parts that we're going to print are probably bigger, maybe even better quality. So maybe we have 5 robots working together collaboratively on site, reducing the workloads also. So many welding people are going on a pension, and we're getting welding engineers back, but they prefer to work with a robot behind the screen than making these complex welds, which they used to have to do. So automation is everything here, and the flexibility of a technology like ours means that you can also use it for SMRs, so you make a completely new design. So one of the dreams that we have in the company is, what if all engineers that come to the table now actually start thinking with 3D printing in their mind? They could reduce the amount of material that is in a part, they could add extra functionality, speed up the process even more. So introducing a technology like ours takes a bit of time. And once this time has settled, once everybody knows it's there, they trust it, then another phase of innovation starts. And I think that's where we are now. And we also noticed an enormous energetic vibe during this conference already, and lots of people seeing the possibilities. So yeah, I believe if you transpolate that to another 10 years, you will be amazed with what you see. And that's also what I see in the general 3D printing market. That's, of course, where I come from. And every year, even I am amazed what our colleagues have produced in other technologies. So yeah, I think there's going to be more amazement about what this technology could do than you can now imagine.
Thank you. Yeah, the pace of innovation is so fast. But we're going to quickly now just dip back into markets and trends when I go to you, Maria, because, well, as we were saying in the introduction, there's been a rapid and fast increase in energy consumption right across the globe. And obviously, as you mentioned, Maria, this is expected to increase. It already is, with AI data centers and the use of AI around the world. So that's influenced decisions in the nuclear market. you're saying there is consensus for once. And that includes SMRs, large-scale reactors, and restarts. But what about that in framing it in terms of long-term competitiveness? And I have another question for you, because I think it's very important. It's something that's been brought up already. Given this demand for potential new builds, how do you envisage human resource management within this?
Great. Well, thank you for the question. As I mentioned, just a fabulous opportunity for nuclear is literally in our grasp. When I mentioned that AI was a thirsty technology in the United States, in the next 5 to 7 years, we need an additional 55 gigawatts of power. 55 gigawatts, right, in the next 5 to 7 years, just to give you an idea of just how much energy is needed. And so when you think about innovation and you think about what's needed to be brought to the marketplace, it's innovation not only in the technology, the different types of reactors, as we mentioned, but also in how to make them happen. He mentioned 3D printing. We have to innovate in the construction technology. We have to innovate in our workforce as well. So it's not going to be, let's do it like we did yesterday. It's going to be, how are we going to innovate and do it as we will tomorrow? And so you can think of using AI in the construction phase and using it as part of the supply chain, right? How can we build these things better? In the United States, currently, we have several new small modular reactors under construction, and you can see the partnership with these AI vendors. So you have Google partnering with Kairos. They're building in Tennessee. You have X-Energy with Amazon, and they're going to build across the United States. And you have Oklo, who has also begun groundbreaking in Idaho National Lab. We've also have a president that is very much pushing this technology. The Trump administration has asked for 10 large reactors to be under construction by 2030 in the United States, asked for at least 3 microreactors to be critical by July 4th next year. So a real push to the marketplace. But as you mentioned, we're going to need the resources, both from a supply chain and a human perspective, to be ready for these. And I think it's also an opportunity for all of us to say, and what kind of resources can we bring? It's not just engineers. It's craft folks, it's HR, it's IT, it's all of that. And I think one of the things that's happening right now is because nuclear is beginning to thrive and people are looking ahead, it's actually attracting a lot of this workforce. And it doesn't all have to be the new workforce. The coal plants that are operating today, which will be shutting down, we can take those folks that are currently working at a coal facility and they can easily be put to work at a nuclear facility. So it's being creative together. And if we're going to get there, it's going to take all of us working together. Thank you.
Fabulous. I really like the idea that you said that we're innovating in terms of what we'll be doing tomorrow, not what we're going to be doing today. Now, just before we close and I come to you, I just, our discussion is about the key enablers of making the nuclear industry more competitive. I just want to do a very quick round table, 30 seconds each, just to conclude. I'll start with you, Daniel.
Yeah, thanks. No, but I think all the key enablers are there, and looking in this room, this is the major key enabler. It's all you that's sitting here. You need to support this journey. That's simple as that.
Key enablers are here. Over to you, Gijs.
Yeah, for us, it's really the support of the bigger companies. So we're really happy that EDF took shares in the company to support us with this route, just like Framatome. But we need more companies that are daring, which is special in nuclear, right? So, I mean, but there, maybe we fail, probably not, but at least take the jump.
It will be competency and people. Of course, we need people able to bring their ideas, new ideas, embrace uncertainties and innovation, but do that with this very special industry we have and which requires safety again. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. It's investment, both from governments and the private sector, and we just need to get building.
Fabulous. Okay, so you heard it. The key enablers, you're all in this room. We need more daring, more people who are willing to embrace some uncertainty and investment. And so our panel is coming to a close, and the final words are for you.
Everything was said, in fact. The main enabler is here, in that room. But in fact, in the industry, if I step back, key enablers for competitive of nuclear energy, we need low capital expenditure or managed capital expenditure, a safety that is fully guaranteed, and low operating cost. I understand, and thank you for the comment you've made. We understood that to be able, we need visibility, of course. And to me, it is obvious that now we have visibility. Plans are there, everywhere. I was saying that to be competitive and to lower our expense, we must freeze standardization. We must make sure that the regulatory is defined when we start. But we must also dare innovation. And these two can go together. We must freeze and be straightforward, based on clear standards, taking the benefit from the experience we had. But we must also innovate again and again. And that is a never-ending story. Thank you very much.
Innovation, a never-ending story. What a beautiful way to end this story together. Please give a very warm hand of applause for our fantastic speakers, Daniel, Gijs, Philippe, Maria, and of course, our president of the panel, Grégoire Ponchon. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, très bien.
My gosh, you're a fabulous speaker.